Hey, this is Pamela Riemenschneider. I'm the retail editor for Blue Book Services, and this is the Produce Reporter Week in Review. Greg, nice jersey.
Euro 24 edition, at least the first of them. Yes. I'm going to
Right?
rep the defending champs rather than the home team as long as they're in it.
Yeah, I got the home team, although that pink and purple jersey, I got to get my hands on one of them. I mean, the jerseys are elite.
Those look fantastic, but they look very odd in the crowd surrounded by the beautiful white and black traditional jerseys. It's like pink doesn't really belong there.
Not really. No, but it has been good soccer watching, while we're working, of course. That's the beauty of working from home, right? I was gonna have a nice pitch in the background for my virtual background, but I felt like I gotta leave the avocados up just because, yeah, avocado situation's not getting better, and the USDA is not helping us on it either.
Well, the USDA would point out that it's not their fault.
Right, yeah. So to catch you up to speed, avocado and mango inspections have been temporarily suspended in Michoacan due to, depending on the report that you read, a couple of inspectors were detained at a local protest by local forces, and some people say it's some kind of, opposition group or something like that. They were quickly released. It wasn't anything like they're being held hostage. But since then they have halted inspections. Anything that was on the road ready to come that had already been inspected is already cleared to be imported. And I also heard on the down low from some producers that a lot of the production, especially in mangoes, has already moved on out of Michoacan. So it's unlikely to affect it that much. It's more of making everyone nervous. It's never, this happened in 2022, I believe.
Yeah, and when it happened then, it seemed like a much bigger deal, but when we looked at what it did to the market, it really didn't do anything to the market. Of course, that was a time when Mexico is heavier in the market. That was February, if I believe. And they are shipping lots more at that time of year. And we've already covered that the crop is down and it's going to be a light summer for mango or for avocados. I guess some good news is California revised their crop up 20% this week, but I don't think that's going to help much of the country because they don't have a big enough crop that it makes it too far east. Typically, they say as far as the Rockies go, but with a bigger crop, it's possible some higher end retailers east of the Rockies could say that that's worth it and bring it to their consumers.
Although we did have a story today, or this week, that showed that Peru keeps revising its numbers down. So I'm just gonna call it a wash at this point as far as the reporting on avocado volumes. Although I will also note that Maida Sotomayor today on LinkedIn mentioned that, hey, by the way, we are also sourcing from Jalisco, and Jalisco is unaffected. And that's a recent development in Mexico, starting to pull avocados from not just Michoacan, but also Jalisco. So hopefully this won't last too long. Last time it lasted about a week, right before the Super Bowl, so it's a little tough as far as avocado volumes go. But this time of year, Mexico is less important, although Mexico, I mean, we're what 90% of their export market comes here. So yeah, it's still a big deal.
But that wasn't the most controversial thing we've reported on this week.
Right? I could switch to peaches here because there is some piping hot peach tea right now.
We
Um,
got a fistful of drama, and it played out in social media, which is the modern way to do things.
right, exactly. So the algorithm was working out for me. The other morning, I opened up TikTok and started scrolling, and the first thing I saw was the founder and owner of the Peach Truck calling out Kroger for not just a Peach Truck inspired promotion, which I mean, I've been pointing out the Peach Truck for a couple of years now, going, hey, this is a really great concept. Retailers need to take note because we've got a problem in peaches. Peaches are not delivering the flavor that we want at retail. This company is doing what it can to fix that problem. Retailers take note. Kroger was like, yes, exactly. And let me copy that exactly, including stealing their photos and photoshopping. Somebody in the marketing department was like, here's how we're gonna pitch this to the consumer. And they literally took a photo that had a Peach Truck employee in it and shopped the Kroger branding over it. And somehow that got out to the media. And I know that that had to have been some kind of internal thing. I even chased down one of the news organizations that ran that art allegedly, because I couldn't find it anywhere out there by then, because Kroger had already pulled it and scrubbed as much as they could. Because when you clicked on it, the thumbnail was still there in the cached thing. This is all like internet backdoor, backroom stuff. But when you searched for it, you could see it in the Google image search. There it was, right there, connected to this story about a peach truck coming to Louisville. And so I clicked on the story, and when I got to the story, it was beauty art, which is just somebody pulled a file photo or some kind of royalty-free picture of peaches. So they'd already scrubbed it. And I contacted that writer to be like, hey, where did you get that art? Who sent that art to you? They didn't respond to me.
Yeah.
But Kroger did.
Assuming that that person actually exists.
Yeah, I know. That was the other thing too, is that like that writer looked super sketchy. It looked like an AI bot. It didn't like it was everything about this was unbelievable. I thought it was a hoax. I thought it was the Peach Truck having some super clever, possibly slanderous thing calling out Kroger for copying their concept, which I mean they know that they can't go after him for having a truck of peaches and a promotion in their parking lot. They know they can't do that, because that's
No,
not
that's
like
imitation, which is the sincerest form of flattery.
right. But stealing their art and photoshopping it and sending it out, I did not believe it. There's no way that Kroger did something this amateur, until I reached out to Kroger for a comment, and they commented. They gave me an answer, and I couldn't believe it. They said, we were embarrassed to learn about this. You could say we have peach on our face. That's so goofy. And they're trying to make light of stealing. The images were not approved to be shared as part of our marketing campaign. No shit. Really?
It was
They
an
removed.
internal miscommunication. They apologized. What more do you want? They made light of it. I mean, that's the way we do things in 2024.
I mean, yeah, sometimes we misspell things in subject lines, and we just gotta go, but this
It
is,
might have happened this week to us for the eagle-eyed readers.
yeah, thanks for pointing that one out. you know, they said they wish the Peach Truck nothing but success, and if their markets didn't overlap so much, I would feel a little more genuine about this. Also, the many people who reached out to me on the down low after we published this, who said, hey, Kroger did this to us too, not on this scale. I mean, but it is known that one man's amazing promotion is another man's amazing promotion, because they're like, hey, that worked out really great for you. We're gonna try it too.
Well,
From
the
a
peach truck directly took on Kroger because
yes,
Kroger wasn't delivering good peaches to their consumers through the traditional means. So they come up with this truck, and obviously it worked to some degree. So Kroger notices. I mean, it kind of reminds me of when the fruit stands steal business from retailers because they're getting all this great local product. And then the retailers go straight to the local producer and go, how would you like us to buy your whole crop? And we'll put it in our stores.
or in our parking lot in our own
Or
fruit stand promotion.
right. I mean, that seems like good business to me. And the consumer wins because it's usually cheaper in the grocery store than it is at the farm stand.
Yeah, I mean, that is one way to look at it for sure. Just don't Photoshop Farmer Bob into your marketing materials and send it out as part of your press release. How about we don't do that?
Yeah, I don't think that was the plan.
I don't think it was either. And not sure the person who accidentally let that one slip actually still has a job at this point. That one's, whew, that was interesting, and the number of people that I heard from about that was really interesting as well. And I still stand by the fact that an organization trying to fix this peach problem, like I mentioned a couple weeks ago when we wrote about my most recent experience with them, peach consumption is half what it was. It has been cut in half in the last 20 years. And that's no good for anybody. I mean, peaches are amazing and fresh peaches are having a problem. So we gotta figure this out. We gotta find a way to have a better experience for consumers. So kudos to
So can't you look at this whole affair as your peach tea cup half full instead of half empty? All these
the,
groups are making a huge effort to bring a better peach experience to the consumer.
yes,
So
I mean
good, right?
that's the bottom line of it. That is definitely the bottom line of it. Although when I watched this one sponsored video that Kroger put out and the lady literally said, "Come down to the peach truck at Kroger," I was like, wow. I'm sure like the marketing and communications people are just like steam coming out of their ears. Like, but you know what? As a advocate for increasing consumption of fresh produce, good peaches, millions of good peaches. I mean, yeah. Hey, let's all get aboard on something like that.
Yeah, you and I don't pick sides, unlike our current teams.
Right. Well, you also hit up a webinar that has, I mean, the numbers are really kind of a bummer coming out of Circana, and John Parker did for the Foundation of for Fresh Produce this week. I was kind of surprised at how high some of these numbers are.
Some of these numbers have been shared before, and some of them are new. And even the stuff that's been shared before, I think it's good for our audience to hear over and over because that's the consumer experience. And she started off by pointing out overall food prices are 30% higher than 4 years ago, and wages have gone up 16% in that time. So it is real pain being felt by consumers. And one of the amazing stats in there, which I had not seen before, even though it may have been around, 84% of consumers in Circana's survey said they have changed one or more food buying habits because of food inflation. And that leads us right into another crazy stat that that of the food dollar being spent right now in 2024, 61% is in retail and 39% in food service. And eating occasions is 86-14, which is just such a massive spread.
Remember back in the day, one of those PMA State of the Industries, I think it was Brian Silverman, was talking about when food service overtook retail, when it was 51% food service. And during the shutdown and lockdown and whatever, it skyrocketed, but that was situational. Back then, at that 51%, that was consumer trends. That was people just outsourcing their food consumption. And
That
now
was
we're
when
like,
people were busy and food service was not expensive and people had a lot of disposable income. Yeah, I remember that time. I think it was more than 1 year that it eclipsed 50 on the side of food service. But man, we are in a different spot now.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, this past weekend, we ate out at restaurants more than I wanted to. It was Father's Day, and all these things happen. And I'm just thinking about, we just spent $100 at this restaurant and $75 at that restaurant. And that is a week's worth of groceries of just like my normal shop without like all the extra things that I end up buying or whatever. But that, like, 2 meals was a week's worth of groceries.
Yeah,
That's why people aren't eating out as much.
the $15 fast food meal is the big wake up call, I think, for American consumers right now, and it's just hard to justify.
Yeah, unless you're in a situation where you don't have a whole lot of other options, it is becoming a nice to have and definitely not a convenience that is worth the money anymore. Yeah, I implore you to go take a look at that article and some of the other numbers that they threw down. It's really, really interesting stuff.
Well, there was some good news for produce in there. Grocery trips are up 12%, which means people are picking and choosing a little more rather than just going to a specific place and buying a week's worth of food. And within that subcategory, fresh produce trips are up 7%, and it is the only one in fresh food that is above zero. And so that means retailers are doing a good job with produce and giving high quality and good value, people are seeking them out. And so retailers always could differentiate themselves with good fresh produce departments. And now it's even more as value becomes a part of that.
When they talk about number of trips going up, they always mention on the other hand of that is that basket size is going down. But every time someone walks into a store, that is an opportunity for a retailer to catch an impulse sale. So if you are out there doing a great job of merchandising, promoting, if you have a sampling program, you're going to catch people. So I see that as opportunity and not just, but basket size is smaller. Basket size is smaller, but can you catch them and get them to put one other produce item in their basket because they're not going to be stopping for fries on the way home. So
No, and produce also does better on more trips because it's so much more perishable than everything else. And so more frequent trips mean more opportunities to buy produce. And if you think about buying berries or something, like you're not going to buy berries and keep them around for a week.
you shouldn't.
You
Don't try to keep
shouldn't.
berries
And
for a week.
well, you should eat them all. But like in my house, I have to go 2, 3 times a week to get berries
Yeah, yeah.
because they get eaten, which is good. That's the whole point.
Yeah, and you know what? Berries have been super cheap. I had John Pandle was store checking in Dallas last night and sent me a picture of 97 cent a pound strawberries at the new Joe V's in Dallas. And then I bought raspberries at Driscoll's Raspberries at Costco last week for $1.89 for the package this big. Like
Oh,
I
like
got
12
like
ounces or something.
yes, I bought like four of them. So yeah, this is the time of
Can
year.
freeze
Like
them before they go bad.
yeah, you know what? I got teenage boys. They'll just eat an entire clamshell of berries on their own, and I don't. If for $1.89, I don't really care. I'm like, knock yourself out, kid. That's better than Cheetos.
That is 1,000 times better than Cheetos.
All right, well that's it for the Produce Reporter Week in Review Euro Edition. There's my team. Well, actually, you know what? I kind of like the Netherlands too. So.
Oh, yeah, we have those jerseys, but maybe that'll be next week. We'll see how they do.
All right. If you are not getting the Produce Reporter, you need to go to producebluebook.com and sign up.